everybody. We are live and I am just tweaking the camera a little bit here while I wait for folks to hop on. Today I'm kind of going to do an overview of a lot of work that I've started. I'm not starting anything new today. It's hard for me to not start something, to have a lot of things going at the same time. I'm going to see, I've got 100% on that. That's great. So this is an in for quite a while. Not as long as some of the others. And it's based on a poem that I wrote. And I will go ahead and show you the overview. No one's on here yet. Takes a while for YouTube to get the thumbnail up in front of people. And then, of course, people have to click. And then I think it also is sort of in this live stream feed that happens on YouTube, and it has to get into that feed. So I usually wait a little while before I get too in detail because I always have to repeat it. The Zoom Art app, also called Infinite Zoom Art, when you're searching for the app. And we're going to get out here to the very first image. Has the poem that I wrote. I just wanted a poem that evoked a lot of image, and then I wanted to do an infinite zoom to it. And I wanted to be sort of something to do with women or girls. And so this is the original first character that is part of this infinite zoom. And I'm still not seeing that I'm up and running yet. So here's the poem. Here we go. I've got a few people coming on now. Hello. Welcome to my drawing session. I am working on infinite zoom drawings today. And let's see, I've got a comment. Hi. Oh, wow, that is a make some noise. Photino, blah, blah, blah. Unpronounceable, make some noise. I love having people come on who like drawing. So this this program is Infinite Zoom, or Infinite Zoom Art, if you're looking for it in an app on your on your phone or on your iPad or other tablet. If you like to draw digitally, it's not very expensive. It's $4.95 a month. I'm going to show you how it works. It's a very simple drawing app. Have that too. Oh, so you have this app. It's a very simple drawing app, almost too simple sometimes because it doesn't even have copy and paste. I did kind of get adept with the photo tool that you can import photos in here. And I can sketch things in other programs and then exported them as a JPEG and trace over them in here. So this is, for anybody else who's joined, this is the Infinite Zoom app. It's a vector-based program, and it's a mathematical thing that happens as I'm zooming in. It's refreshing the screen dimensions so that the vector can continue to operate the way you want it to operate. Just double checking my comments. I saw something. Where do we go in here? We go in here. And then we go dive into the necklace, to the girl dancing, to her necklace. And then we go into this little jewel on her forehead. I didn't read the poem. I'm going to zoom back out and read the poem and come back in. And so the poem ends here. And the poem is actually on, I wonder if I can read it on this necklace. So this one, see the pixely? This is to demonstrate that this is a photograph right here. This girl's face, photograph of the very first one I call here hero. This is a drawing. See how I can go super close and there's no pixels? This is this is like an actual vector drawing in the program. I did not import a photograph. But at the end, I didn't want to draw her all over again for that little tiny jewel. So I imported a photograph, and so you can see the difference of what happens when you import a photograph and zoom in on it compared to zooming in on a vector-based drawing. And so the poem goes, sunlight, roots, water, the crowns, the gowns, the endless grace, the hush before the glitter moves. She is fearless in her direction and courage in her reflection. So I always goof up the last line, but let's see. So, and then we've got roots, sunlight, roots, reflection. Or maybe the poem was water. I've already forgotten. And then we zoom in to the next line, which is the crowns. She's not really sure how she feels about crowns. The gowns. And these are all different characters, by the way. This is not just one woman. The gowns. The endless grace. The hush before the shimmer moves. Courage in her reflection. Fearless in her direction. And that is the ending. And then again, here's the photograph of the drawing that I did earlier. And so that is, so to show you how the tools work, there was in here, I want to correct how this looks. To me, it looks like I accidentally cut a line across there, and like this line wants to kind of go like that, and then this is hanging out too low. So I want to correct that. And I think the way I want to correct that is these are all on here in different layers. I'm going to go to the top layer, and I'm going to erase that black line right there on both sides. Feel free to drop a comment or a question. I'm happy to answer questions. And then I'm going to go to this layer and see what I can erase. I'm going to erase that and that. Hi, Nayli Laredo. Naleli Laredo. Rebecca Torna, I'm not sure. Hi. I just have a hard time getting these names that people have, because a lot of times they're people I don't know, and I don't get to practice with you in person. Okay, let me go back up here and figure out what layer. Okay, so now I do want those eyebrows to extend, so I'm going to go back and kind of here, and I'm going to ask for this color in a fatter pen. Thanks for bearing with me on my poor pronunciation of people's names and handles. Okay, so I like that. And I'm going to move back up. Skill, oh, I'm sorry. I think an AI bot just popped up. It's not like a bad AI bot. It's a suggestion from YouTube, and what they're suggesting is that I put a question up for people to answer. And so the question is going to be a skill you wish you had. So let me go ahead and start a question and answer. Skill you wish, whoops, did I spell that right? No. Wish you had. Done. Okay, the question's up there. Drag here to end Q&A. Okay, so, oh, that's good to know. All right, so I'm just going to leave it over there. So let's go to the medium. Now I'm going to go to the very top layer here. Brushes, they're all the same types of brushes, and they have two things you can adjust. You can adjust how big the mark is. I'm going to hit the back button down here, and I'll show you a smaller mark. Same pencil, and I'll go even smaller. Same pencil, same pressure, and then I will go over, I'm going to go back up a little bit and make this one medium. So what I like to do is set this one as medium, this one as large. You can see that one's super large, and this one I set up as pretty small. So then I can also show you, I'm going to hit back several times and erase all that. Okay, I'm going to go to the middle one, and I've got the pressure all the way on. So if I go like this and I press hard, it gets thicker and thinner and thicker and thinner. So that means my pressure is turned on. Now if I do the same thing with that same brush, but I turn the pressure off, no matter how hard I push, it stays the same thickness. The line thickness doesn't change. So I'm going to hit back on both of those. And I also want to go and turn that pressure all the way up so it turns it into a paintbrush again. Oh, start Q&A. And so that's the paintbrushes on here. And then here is the medium. Let's see, I'll probably stick with the medium. Now I'm going to change colors. So two palette buckets, and you can choose your colors either through a disc, color selector, a classic, sliders, or you can create palettes if you want to, and then be able to go back and find a certain color that was on your palette before. So I have a Derma Christmas here on a painting I was working on. I have a reindeer one. That was another one I was working on. And this Fiesta mix. So what color? A skill you wish you had. Oh, so I'm going to choose black here. That's the color. And and there it is. Black is chosen. And I've got my medium pencil chosen, and I have the pressure on. And I'm just going to go like this and like that on each side. It's going to go thick and then thin. And then I might come in here with my eraser and just make, oops. Oh, that's interesting. I must have accidentally put these on the wrong layer. Darn. Darn. Okay, so the way that I would fix that, for instance, let's look at this layer. This layer is this is my black layer. this is my brown layer, and I just put the black lines on the brown, the under layer. So I'm going to hit the back button and get rid of the black. I'm going to go back up. Here's my layers. I'm going to go all the way up to my black line weight layer. Hi, I see a lot of highs, hearts, and Ks. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for participating. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm back up to the top. I'm going to grab my black color. Again, pressure all the way on, medium size. And I'm going to do that again. Out here, I'm going to go wide. And then go not so wide. Wide. So they look a little bit much and a little rough. So I think I'm going to make this one shorter, number 1. Now I'm going to smooth him out. There we go, and there we go. It's kind of a fancy, this guy's got kind of a fancy eyebrows going on, just saying, for a mountain lion. That's all right, though. Oh, how long did this one take? That's a good question, because this one I've been working on off and on. I haven't timed it, but I'm going to guess because I have to erase this right here. Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have about 10 separate drawings. I would say each drawing takes me about 4 hours. Sometimes a little less, sometimes 3. So, 40 hours probably on this drawing. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me just show you the rest of it. I don't know how long you've been here. So here's the rest of the drawing. If you haven't been here, this is all, each one of these images takes me 3 to 4 hours. Like that image was 3 to 4 hours. This image, 3 to 4 hours. This next image, actually, this image, I'm going to say this image could have taken me 8 to 12 hours. There's a lot of detail on this image. So I would say that's more like a 10-hour image. This image was fast. This one was a short image. This one probably took me 2 hours. This one, again, pretty detailed. This one was at least 4 hours, I would say, for that one. This one too, because this one was hard to work out. And I'm actually still not completely happy with how the whole corset thing, it just looks a little weird to me. I kind of want to redraw it. I mean, it's okay. It's acceptable. And then, well, you think that's crazy. I'm going to show you my infinite zoom for Twas the Night Before Christmas. That one took me 80 hours. Have you seen that one yet? I haven't shown it in this infinite zoom, in this live. I've done it in other lives. And then this gal, she took me, if I had drawn it just here by itself, because this was kind of hard to work out. This would have been probably a 6-hour drawing, but to work her all out. But I'll show you where I worked her all out to begin with. I did her over in fresco, and this was a weekend's work. I came up with this first character right there, and then I started like, how does she look from the side? How does she look when she's moving? Because I want this character to actually be a park. She's going to have like a profession, and she's going to be one of the characters in a graphic novel that I want to create. on her. And I actually have 4 different characters that I've done this with. So what I did when I wanted to draw her was I went ahead and exported, like right here, I did a quick export. I did a JPEG of this right here. And then I imported that into the other program and I traced over. So I don't have to keep redrawing these over and over and over again from scratch. I can create this sort of basic thing with like different profiles and head tilts and expressions, and then I can import them in and trace over them. So this is sort of my thinking page. But on my, okay, so that's that. Part of what I wanted to accomplish today, if there's professional artists that come in here, is talk about how you think through one of these infinite zoom drawings. And I'm going to show you Twas the Night Before Christmas. This one took me 80 hours, and I just have to find it. Here it is. And I'm going to go to the very beginning image. So this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then I also have 4 of the reindeer not listed here. So that's 23 images. There's 23 images that I did for this infinite zoom. Oh yeah, started this one the day after Thanksgiving, so the 29th or whatever that day was of November. And I worked on this one in every evening after, because I have a day job. So I would just draw for a couple hours every evening on this drawing until I finished it. And then I would work on it on the weekends too. And so "Twas the Night Before Christmas" is the name of this one. Oh, this is not actually the first image. Let me go out to the first image. And we'll go in kind of slowly. Okay, here we are. This is the first image. "Twas the Night Before Christmas." Went all through the house. Not a creature was stirring. Not even a mouse. The stockings were hung on the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I jumped from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. And on the crest of the fallen snow and I can't remember the poem exactly, something about it creates a light that makes objects look like it's midday below here, but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. So we've got our reindeer here. And a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. And then there's something about how he yells to them. They were flying really fast. I can't remember what the line is. And he starts yelling their names and he says, "On Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer and Vixen, on Comet." Yeah, you do remember this. "On Cupid," that's great. "On Donner and Blitzen." To the top of the some to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away all. As dry leaves before they leapt and they jumped and reached for the sky, or something like that. And then I heard on the roof the clipping and clapping of tiny little hooves, something like that. Um, and then Santa came down the chimney. I should have the poem printed here so I can read it properly when I'm going through it. I have done a recording of this, by the way, and put it on my long form YouTube, and it's read really beautifully. So I would love it if everybody would go over, find that, and play it on Christmas Eve for your families. I would really love that. I can put the I can put it in the comments, but this won't. So it's Twas the Night Before Christmas, and it's by Maggie Bates Art. That's how you would find it. Let's see here. We go in here. He comes down. He's covered in ashes and soot. He looks like a peddler. He's smoking a pipe, and the smoke it encircles his head like a wreath. He's a jolly old elf. And he's got sort of a tummy that's like a bowl full of jelly when he laughs. And when I saw him, I had to laugh in spite of myself. But I soon knew there was nothing to dread, because he kind of winked and nodded his head. And quickly he went to work and he filled all the stockings. And it rhymes, but I don't remember it. And then with a nod up the chimney he rose, and he jumps in the sleigh and he drives out of sight. But before he was out of sight, he heard him yell, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." And that's the end. So this is lagging out. I'm not sure what that means. Rebecca, you're gone. And so that is Twas the Night Before Christmas. And if you go on my channel right here, I'll show you what it looks like. Find this by going to this video. So it's a long form video. So it's in the horizontal format, called Twas the Night Before Christmas. Infinite Zoom is the name of it. Okay, I'm going to go back to my drawings. So otherwise, lately, I think I worked on this one. This was I have another video online of how to make a Christmas card. So if you have relatives, and let's say you don't want to go shopping, or you can't go shopping for some reason. That's weird. I don't know why I have two white lines there. That's so weird. Background, layers. Huh. Let me fix this. If you don't have time to Christmas shop, this app costs $4.95 for 1 month. You can make all of your Christmas cards on this app, and I have a video that shows you how. So you could make infinite zoom Christmas presents for everybody. So you'd make a little drawing that you would either show them in person, or you would turn it into a video, because it shows you right on the app how you can do that. So I'm going to go all the way in to would go. You would say, "It's me wishing," and you would. So this is where you in your own portrait, and you make it a simple stick figure if you want. So it's me wishing you a very happy Christmas love you. And that's it. It's really simple. But when you go in here and it's complicated, even though it's not. It's just that if you've never used this before, it might feel daunting. And so I have a step-by-step video of how to do this card, just like this. And this. And these are all different infinite bet book that I hope to finish someday. We've gotten pretty far on it. That's the royal we, me, myself. I have a hard time remembering how I zoomed in sometimes on my drawings. Oh, so to continue in teacher mode, there's this thing called bookmarks right here. It looks like a little bookmark, and then you can mark where each of your drawings are in case you ever get lost. Into a drawing, it can be problematic because you can forget where you zoomed in. And so we're up to D for donkey, E for elephant, an eye, and eggs, an earring, F for fox, fairy, frog, flowers, G for goat, giraffe. I think we go into the goat's eye. H for hedgehog, heron, humpback whale. I think we go into the humpback whale eye. I think this is an ibis, if I remember right. No, this is an ibis. I have to look up again what the animal was. I know I've got an iguana and an inchworm and an ibis, which is there's different colored ibis birds. And then this is an eye. It's not an antelope, but it begins with an I, and the word has escaped me. And I think that is the last one that I've finished, but if I zoom in here, I have J ready to go, and I'm going to do, I don't know if I'll do all of these. I'll do a couple of them. I think I really need to do a jumping spider because spiders are so cute with those two little eyes. I follow a couple spiders online. So that is my alphabet book. I'm going to just go out here because it finishes on the last view that you took. And then I have, so that was the card. That was the Twas the Night Before Christmas. The crowns and gowns. The brain. I don't know what the brain is. It's a copy of the card. Animals. Ooh. Oh, wow. I don't even remember when I started this one. Ooh, I'm going to have to come in here and work on this one. So this is similar to the alphabet. And I think it's to a song. There's a cat, chickens, sheep or goats, horses, pig, donkey. Oh yeah, it's an animal sounds recording that I found on YouTube, and I thought, oh, I wanna do an infinite zoom to all the sounds that are on that my page. How do I remember? I barely remember even drawing this. The line drawings are pretty fast for me now, but I don't know where to go in on this one. So that is part of the problem. So there's goat, and it's in the chicken eye. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's see if Garden goat. Maybe the goat is where I ended because I'm not seeing where I went in. Has anybody answered the question, a skill I wish I had? A skill you wish you had? Feel free to drop your answer in the comments. Okay, so moving on. These to different songs. And then like this one, as sly as a fox, it's one of the phrases in the song. As sly an ox, as scary as a bear, but I don't remember where I go in on the bear. That is part of the problem of not being in an infinite Zoom for a while, and that is why you definitely want to have your bookmarks. You want to set your bookmarks up as you go. So the bear, okay, the bear is in, oh, the bear is farther in. Okay, so that's where I want to, so as strong as an ox, as fast as a hare, and as scary as as free as a bird, as something as a word. I can't remember what that was. Um, as little as a mouse. Oh, just put a line I didn't want to. As big as a house. That was one of the songs, one of the videos I did to the song. And I did another one too. I did this one too. Just checking the comments. This one I did to the song. So let's go all the way. Mr. Boombastic. Yeah, so it starts out with Mr. Boombastic. And we go into where he's fantastic, but where is it? Hard to remember all of this. So what I do is I go all the way, I'm going to go sexy on the cover. Ah, so it's in the dots on his nose. Sexy on the cover. Sexy on the cover, that's sexy on the cover. And then I'm looking for where we went in on this one. It's a good question. Maybe on on her fingernail. Fantastic. I actually put to music to Mr. Boombastic. And then a couple others that I did were to songs that Nathan, he's a poet, performer, singer, person. And let me go to the beginning of this one. House. Oh, I didn't mark this one with bookmarks, so this will be interesting. I'm going to have to find my way in on all of these. Okay, so this is where we start, and it says his poem is something like something about blue eyes. He doesn't like his blue eyes, and Nathan Apollo says, but blue eyes are like crystals and waves and They make you feel like the, you know, the feeling you get when you go home. And you have to listen to Nathan Apollo. Anyway, I did all of these to Nathan Apollo audio with my drawing, and it's pretty cool. And that's the end of that one. It ends with "You are amazing." I do remember that. So I did that one for Brown Eyes 2, which is right here. Rebecca, hi. I'm glad you're back. And then yours truly, I think, was this one I have not really gone super far on at all. This was the farm that I grew up on. And so I grew up in, this is the houses when I came home from the hospital. I was a baby. This is where I went with my family. Here I am when I'm like 4 years old, and this is my little brother, and then this is my older brothers, all of them here, and my mom and dad. We had 8 kids in our family. So I don't have any zoom in on this one, like it doesn't zoom in and in and in and in. I've just drawn different parts I've detailed out. So like here's the sign that was out in front of our family's farm, brief, because it says Charles Bates and Sons, and that was made after I was born, and I wasn't a boy. So that was a little weird that he put that sign out in front, but it was back in 1960s. So unfortunate that he did that. And then here's me again, a little bit older, sitting on the fence, looking at my horse. And then we raised tobacco, which I show here was one of the crops we raised was tobacco. And this is a tobacco shed, which has walls that actually have doors, full height, and so that you can all the tobacco can dry inside. It doesn't get rain on it because you've got a roof, and then all the moisture can come out of the tobacco that's all hanging. They're like leaves that are hanging, and it goes in there at the end of summer, and it dries and dries for months, and then about November, December, January, sometime like that, you start to take it all down and you bring it into this, we called it the tobacco room, where here it is. So that's the stalk of the plant. It's hanging upside down. They're all on laths. And then you pull the leaves off from the stalk, and then you bind it into bundles here. Tobacco companies that turn it into smoking tobacco or chewing tobacco. We were pretty far north. So ours was turned into snuff. I heard ours wasn't good enough to be, the really good tobacco is grown south for smoking tobacco. Now, I don't think anybody should smoke, by the way, but that was a big part of my life when I was a kid because we had that. And then I used to play basketball. We had rabbits. On the other side of this corn crib, this was a corn crib, there was a basketball hoop, and I loved to play that. We had an old International truck that was always parked there. And we had a milk house. We had a barn, and inside the barn, I haven't drawn it, but this was all set up to milk cows. We had a whole herd of cows. We had many more. We had like 30 cows. This is just a few of them. We had owls in the barn. Oh, you're only 7, Rebecca. So you agree. Yes. And then I lived right next to a river. So here's a river, and there was a lot of what am I trying to say? Hmm. The word has totally escaped me for these plants. Hilarious that I can't think of that. So I'm zooming around here looking at everything. And then this was a trail that I used to ride my horse down. It was a trail to get to all these fields for the tractors. And there was a little culvert cat. There was a cat. Yes, there was a cat. We had a lot of cats. Here's the cat. We had, because we were every day that twice a day, we had to milk the cows. And my parents would put out this big, wide, low dish of fresh cow's milk every single morning and night. And like all of these we had like 20 cats, they'd come running and they drank the milk morning and night. And then and they kept the mouse and rat population down. That's why we had so many cats and kept feeding them cow's milk. Um, and then, all right, somebody tell me, what is that? Why can't I think of the name of this plant that I have grown up with and I see in marshes all the time? Cattail. Cattail. It's a cattail. Somebody gave me a clue by writing cat. Thank you. Okay, and then I was going to tell you about this. There was a puddle here, and I rode this green broke horse right here. He was only ridden for like 2 weeks, and they handed him to me, and I was like 11 years old, and they're like, "Go have fun. Here's your new horse." So got on that green broke horse, and I would ride him down this lane past the chestnut tree and down here, and then there was an apple tree here. We'd go past the apple tree, and one day when I was riding him, there was this big puddle. It had been a big rain, and he jumped over this puddle, and I went flying. I wasn't prepared for him to jump. I was not expecting it, and I lost my balance, and I went flying off, and I broke my arm. And that was right where it happened. And then this is a little creek that and we could catch crayfish down there in that creek. And we would catch them, and then because we didn't eat crayfish, we would let them go. But we would just catch them for the day, terrorize them without like, oh my God, Maggie, you were terrorizing those poor crayfish. But we just thought it was fun to catch them, to make we'd make little crayfish home for them and keep them for the day, and then our mother would make us set them free. And then we had a campground down here. Eventually, I'll draw all the campers that would have been here. We had a couple ponds, a pond there and a pond there, lots of campers. So I've just barely started. There was a chicken farm over here. There was a horse stable down here. This was the horse stable. They had a horseshoe pond, another pond there. This is where I learned to swim, was this pond right here. So I have a long way to go on this drawing. And then what other drawing can I show you? This was one that I did when I felt really sad. And so I was sad about what was happening there had been an ice raid at a roofing company right by where I worked, and they brought a bus in and rounded up all these people and just took them from work, and then they never got to go home. And that made me really sad. And so I did this with the help of people giving me words, and we did this infinite zoom drawing that is a spiral. It spirals out of really positive words that we just put into the universe. And then let me show you some other drawings here. Done all of those. This one's kind of cool. This was one that I would, and it wasn't about anything esoteric. It was, I was going to do a fashion drawing, but because of this podcast, I started drawing these esoteric drawings about meditation and listening to your inner spirit. And yeah, it started as a fashion drawing, but your body is the portal. You have the key to the universe. And so that's what that drawing is about. So I've got, oh, L. L. L is for the way you look at me. O, one I see. Yeah, O is for the only one I see. V is very extraordinary. Uh-oh, where do we go in here? V, we got to find the E. Where is it? Uh-oh. I'm going to have to go in here. Hopefully I marked it with a bookmark. E. So E, oh, V, love, E. Is that the end? That one might be the end. Love. So E, everybody. Okay, so everybody is at the end. And then E is there. V. The bottom of the V to go to the E. I couldn't find it. V. O. The one I see. Isn't that cool? Gal on her gears. L. L is where it starts. Where did you put it? Yeah, that's what I ask myself sometimes. Where did I put that next drawing? And when you don't remember where they are, you can go in there and accidentally erase things. Now this one, I think, is just a canvas. These are photographs. These are photographs of my drawings, and so when you go in close, see how these all get pixely. So I imported these drawings, and if you go here, you can see all of these drawings that I imported. These drawings were not done in Infinite Zoom. These drawings were done in Adobe Fresco. And they actually have been printed. This one is in a show right now. I printed it large, and it's in a show. This one is not in the show, but it's sitting here next to me. Is that the last one? Do we go in on this one anywhere? Let's see. This one might be the last one, the goat. Nope, we go in here on the flower. And then we go in on the necklace to that. And that, oh no, here we go in on the fingers to this one. On the fingers to this one. And then we end up at the beginning image here. And that's as far as it goes. Okay, and there is the beginning image again. So that takes me through that one. Oh, this is a really good one. I'm going to show you one more. The history of fashion and aliens learning. Those. Let me show you history of fashion first. And I'm going to go all the way out to the Neolithic. No, the timeline list. Yeah, so this is the monolithic, I think. The monolithic. And we move in. So it's a timeline. It's sort of, and so monolithic, Neolithic. There was a domestication of animals at that time. A very symbiotic relationship to begin with, and then we domesticated dogs, wolves, honestly. We used to just kind of hang out as packs and help each other to begin with. And then they tricked us into taking care of them forever. And then Minoan woman, and this is Egypt going. This is a Greek vase going into a combination of Nordic and Celtic. It's a Nordic tale told, done in sort of a. The two cultures are pretty intertwined, and a lot of their graphic art, carvings, that kind of stuff have a lot of similar characteristics, and it's because of the tribes that were traveling by boat in those seas between Norway and Ireland. So the style moved along with it. And then I go all the way across the globe to a Mayan dignitary, to a Tang Dynasty horseback rider, a woman. It was very common back then. And then I cross the continent. Sari was a very old, a very, very old type of dress. And then I think I conclude here with, I kind of cross the globe again to Mexico, to a Madonna. Last time YouTube crashed. I wonder if it's, um, I'm not getting any notices that it's crashing on my end. Is it your end that it's crashing on? And then here, am I gonna go into her eye? I don't think I've done the next drawing. I think this is where, is this where I ended? Let's see. Yeah, Mexican Madonna is the farthest that I've gone, right there. So I have a lot to do. I've got hundreds of more years of clothing to do on this infinite zoom. And so I look forward to, and I also have to finish coloring in some of these. I haven't finished coloring in everything. This one's just going to go on and on. It'll take me a while. Okay, so what I was going to do was, make sure. Oh yeah, there was an aliens one I was gonna show you. Where is that one? Blue eyes, brown eyes, straw, alphabet, holiday, brain, aliens learning. Okay. Okay, so we have learned much from your Earth school, like up, cafe, hello, goodbye, hola, adios, al baño, narcissist, porque. But what does I have to go in here? But what does I have to follow this trail and find, where do I go in here? On your left mean. So this, I did this because I just started, I again started, and this is where I live, actually right here by the lake, up from the lake a little ways, actually up here. And I get on this trail and I ride to work and I ride home from work. And a lot of times I'll come up on people and I'll say on your left as I'm coming up behind them, because sometimes they'll have headphones on and they can't hear you. And so on your left is a very common thing that bicyclists will say to pedestrians on trails. And I thought that was kind of funny to turn it into an alien story. And I think that's the beginning. Yeah, that's the beginning. And then I think I just did a mark somehow here. Let me do this eraser right here. Erase and erase that black mark. Okay, I think that this is going to conclude today. I just wanted to kind of do an overview of what I've been doing this year, and just show you a few different pieces that I've worked on, and then just do a little bit of cleanup. Christmas, because I'm going to do it one more time, because this is where I started, because it is the season. And I'm not going to try and say the words this time because I've always mess them up. And I think it ruins it. I think it would be better for people to just think it in their heads. Think it in your head. Think it in your head. I like Comet. I like Blitzen too. I think it's because they got their noses up in the air. It makes me like them even more. Almost got lost for a minute there. Okay. There we go. We're at the end. There was one more, and it was Green Eyes. And it doesn't go very far. Hello, you amazing person. And it's not super detailed. My patience grew and grew the more that I did these drawings to now where I know, oh, I'm going to have to put in 4 hours on every single layer of this drawing. Now, not that one, because that one I was very rushed. I wanted to produce something just like that. But this program has grown my patience more than any other program has. And I'm really thankful for that. I think that that is Crowns and Gowns is what I'm working on right now. And I'm just actually going to polish this a little bit because I haven't made, like I haven't colored in her lips yet. And I did want to do that. So I think I'm going to go to this layer right here. And for the color, I am going to go to Derma Christmas and choose this dark color, but it's, ooh, it's not very pink when you put it right next to that other one. So let me go there to the disc and make it, or the classic. Yeah, let me go here and make it a little pinker by moving this dial. There, now it's making it a little pinker. $50-50. I'm not, you're thinking the color 50-50, 50 half pink, half skin tone? Or are you responding to something else that I said earlier? So now I want to shade those a little bit. So I'm going to take that color. No. Thanks for not totally connecting on every little thing in time. Yeah. I appreciate the comments though. It helps the algorithm. Okay, that's looking good. Oh, and I want to chase down that dot. What layer is that dot on? There it is, that layer. And I need my eraser. Let's make that eraser big. Okay. Okay, so that looks better. I cleaned up her hair the other night. It looks pretty good now. Maybe I should put some color on these buttons. I want to go dark, but not like a gray. I'll put some gray buttons on here. And I am going to go to the top layer, use my eraser, and clean the edges of that. Now I've got to go back down to where that gray was and clean the edge of that up. Okay. I fixed her hand, shoes. Almost fixed her shoes. There's something going on right here. Let me go to this and choose the black.